And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Niger's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akugha. In today's package, as usual, we'll bring you some of the most interesting stories trending across the Niger Delta. Our first report captures the people's mood in the Niger Delta following a recent judgment of the Hague Court of Appeal, which directed Shell Petroleum Development Company SPDC to compensate 3 Niger Delta farmers for the ecological devastation of their farmlands between 2004 and 2007. For observers of last month's altercation between factional leaders of the oil and gas host communities during the public hearing on the Petroleum Industry Bill organized by the House of Representatives, our next report offers some cheering news as Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator ENANG reconciles both parties. We will, in the course of the program, take you to Umbo local government area of AKWA State, where 2 communities are engaged in a bloodbath over land dispute. And finally, in today's package is an update on the series of consultations with critical stakeholders by the Interim Administrator and Chief Executive Officer of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Mr. EFFIONG AKWA. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, determined to make a difference.
Welcome back. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. The human rights community in the Niger Delta has asked Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, to immediately enforce the judgment of the Hague Court of Appeal, directing it to pay compensation to 3 indigenous farmers in the region whose farmlands were devastated by crude oil spillage from Shell's facility between 2004 and 2007. In their reaction, some environmental rights activists based in the Niger Delta described the recent judgment as just and fair, warning that Shell should not employ delay tactics to alter the course of justice in the matter. Correspondent Kanami Ofuri has the report.
It was a long road to justice for 3 farmers in the Niger Delta whose farmlands were devastated by leaks from underground oil pipelines belonging to Shell between 2004 and 2007. In 2008, the aggrieved farmers instituted a suit against Shell in the Netherlands. In 2013, the Hague District Court ordered Shell to compensate one of the 4 farmers who originally filed a suit for compensation, but did not hold the Anglo-Dutch oil giant liable for the spills that destroyed farmlands belonging to 3 other claimants. Dissatisfied with the judgment, the 3 farmers approached the Hague Court of Appeal in 2015. In its recent judgment, the appellate court at The Hague held that Shell could not prove beyond reasonable doubt that the spillage occurred as a result of sabotage. Consequently, the court ordered the Nigerian subsidiary of Shell to compensate the farmers for their losses.
Shell is responsible for the pollution, and it's because they are responsible for the pollution that is why they are unable to prove their case about sabotage. Because if you make a claim, the onus of claim lies on he who alleges. They have alleged, and they could not make their case. So the point here is that they are responsible for the pollution on the ground, and I think that the community people have the right to their environment, and they should go ahead and pay the compensation.
To the delight of environmental rights activists in the Niger Delta, the court also directed Shell Nigeria and its parent company Royal Dutch Shell to install detective equipment to prevent future oil spillages across the Niger Delta.
Their pipes were laid well over 50 years ago, and those pipes are under the ground. They have not been changed. No new technology has been added, and they are bursting and deflating like balloons, causing pollution everywhere in the Niger Delta and denying the people the rights to their environments, destroying their sources of livelihoods, and making lives difficult for them. So that judgment from The Hague will serve as deterrent to Shell to know what they are doing and practice the acts of oil mining in the Niger Delta according to best international practices.
I think there should actually be maybe even surveillance technology that anyone wants to touch a pipeline, there will be a recording that, look, something was tampered with. There are no such improvement, there are no such innovations going on. So you see a situation where Shell will just blatantly come out and say, look, they don't just think about it, this is sabotage, this is sabotage.
The insight of the Dutch court is described as a wake-up call on the Nigerian authorities to effectively regulate operations in the petroleum industry. International oil companies like Shell are said to be taking undue advantage of a lax system to maximize profit without regard for communities' right to a safe environment.
The tragedy is that Shell works with the Nigerian government. The oil industry activity or operations within Nigeria are operated on a joint venture partnership between the Nigerian government and the international investors, meaning that both of them share both the liability and both the profit that comes with the business. And you see that Shell has adamantly, and probably in collusion with Nigerian government, refused to reform the industry practice.
While the recent judgment is being greeted with jubilations across the Niger Delta, Shell has vowed to appeal it. And if it loses at the Supreme Court of The Hague, this will just be one of a handful of cases it would have lost to claims of environmental degradation in recent years.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Hitherto, rival factions of the host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, HOSCOM, have mended fences and are ready to take unanimous positions and make harmonized presentations at the ongoing public hearing on the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, according to Senator ENANG. Correspondent Chika Bodozie reports that the reconciliation follows a truce brokered recently by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator ENANG.
At the invitation of Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator ENANG, warring factions of HOSCOM met recently in his office to resolve their differences. It would be recalled that the public hearing on the PIB, organized by the House of Representatives, witnessed a rowdy session last month following an altercation between contending leaders of oil and gas host communities in the Niger Delta. They had disagreed on who should make presentation on behalf of the body, as well as the right percentage of equity holding to be earmarked for host communities in the PIB. Senator ENANG, who spoke to Inside the Niger Delta, said they had agreed to let bygones be bygones and were fully reconciled. He said the outcome of the meeting offers a win-win for the contending parties, with the Niger Delta as ultimate beneficiary of their reconciliation.
What has been resolved in this meeting by the groups is that no victor, no vanquished. It is the people of the Niger Delta that is the victor. And that what every one of us were struggling for is the ultimate long-lasting good of the people of the Niger Delta, and nothing personal to each one of the contending parties.
In a communique issued at the end of their meeting, there was a collective agreement on 10% equity shareholding for host communities in the next phase of operations in the petroleum industry, as against 2.5% of production quantum provided in the PIB. Participants at the meeting equally resolved that an agency to be known as Host Communities Oil Producing Areas Development Commission be established and replicated across oil-producing states of the Niger Delta. They further resolved that the nomination of appointees to the board of the proposed commission should be made by host communities. With regard to equity shareholding for host communities, it was proposed that companies that fail to set up trust funds 6 months after enactment of the Petroleum Industry Act be sanctioned in accordance with Section 68 of the Nigerian Local Content Act. In the renewed spirit of oneness, it was resolved that there would be a joint technical committee comprising representatives of all interest groups to present joint positions of the host communities on all issues throughout the hearing and conclusion of the PIB.
HOSCON and HOSCOM will constitute a joint technical committee to present and harmonize everything that will be the position of all the host communities, including that which some other committees and communities presented on the floor of the House and the Senate, so that it will be one joint position of the host communities.
Through the initiative of Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator ENANG, members of HOSCON will hopefully make presentations during subsequent hearings on the PIB as a united body. This will undoubtedly afford them an opportunity to capture the true aspirations of the host communities whose interests they represent in the proposed Petroleum Industry Act.
Inside the Niger Delta.
You may want to know what led to last month's physical confrontation between factional leaders of the oil and gas producing communities during the public hearing on the Petroleum Industry Bill at the House of Representatives. Inside the Niger Delta recently spoke to three major actors in the fray: High Chiefs Ben Tamara Nebi, George Bucknor, as well as Dr. Mike Emu, who gave their individual accounts of what transpired at the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly.
I was invited by the National Assembly to make a presentation of a paper, memoranda on the PIB bill. And the moment I was called upon, the attack came. And I was badly attacked. I was assaulted. Notwithstanding, we were denied of our presentation from the host community. My position, the host community position, is 2.5% of production quantum should be given to the host community. If you produce 100 billion of crude oil or 100 million of crude oil, give 2.5% to the community.
I was going out to make my presentation, and I knew when somebody was trying to pull off my royal garments. And it's a taboo for someone from back to pull off the wrapper, royal wrapper that I'm tying. And I watched and turned back, needed to pull me off. If you can watch that clip, I was falling before I stand up. And I asked. Then he held up my beads. Some of the beads pulled off. And for self-defense, I have to fight back to free myself. And that was exactly what happened. And which I know it was a sponsored attack, not on my very self, but for the voice of the host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, on our demand on 10% equity participation shareholding. And that is how it happened.
We don't want our people to be subjugated again, their participatory rights and sustainable development usurped. No more. Let the right thing be done. All interventions that had been put in place on behalf of the host communities producing oil and gas, none has trickled down to the host communities. Do we start with 13% derivation revenue? Or is it the NDDC that was set up? Which one has gone to the... Let's just show me one producing community that has been developed like Dubai. But you have taken millions and billions of dollars from them.
In their communique, the reconciled leaders of the oil and gas producing communities also demanded that oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta should begin to pay gas flare penalties directly to host communities that bear the brunt of environmental hazards associated with daily flaring of gas in the oil fields of the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Several lives have been lost and properties destroyed in a recent communal clash between Ewang and Okontege communities in Numbo local government area of Akwa Ibom State over a disputed parcel of land. Correspondent Nelson Niger reports that violence erupted soon after a court decided that the disputed parcel of land was a common heritage of the feuding neighboring communities.
From time immemorial, ENANG and Okontege have coexisted as neighboring communities in what is today known as Mboluku government area of Akwa Ibom State. Both communities, however, became sworn enemies as a result of disputed parcels of land. After the protracted land dispute turned violent, the matter was taken to court in 2013. In a January 19, 2021 judgment, the court came to the conclusion that irrespective of their current places of residence, the warring communities are the same people with a common ancestry. It averred that the disputed parcels of land were handed down to both communities by their common ancestors with no clear boundary demarcations. The court therefore ordered that they should continue to share and cultivate the parcels of land as they have done for ages, warning that no party should attempt to dispose of their common inheritance without the consent of the other party. In the wake of the recent court judgment, both communities, in an attempt to gain possession of the disputed parcels of land, engaged in a violent clash that resulted in loss of lives. In their account, the people of ENANG community allege that when on the 20th of January they attempted to cultivate the disputed land, in the light of the recent court judgment, their neighbors descended on them.
The country people set up their cabal, they bring their hire assassin, fool the farm, they start shooting from the farm. They kill so many people in the farm that we cannot give account of. From there, they trespass to our community, which they have destroyed. You can see houses, they have burned vehicles, they have bailed so many people. We have witnessed 6 people that they have bailed.
21-year-old Godwin Okon, one of the survivors of the mayhem from ENANG community, is currently receiving treatment from bullet wounds.
As we went to clear the farm, the Ukotre people came with their ammunition and started attacking us. So that's how they shoot me. Just that.
So how many bullets have they removed from you?
I have about 12 bullets inside me. So they have removed 3. It's remaining 9.
When contacted, Chief Edet Moses from Okontege community, however, maintained that ENANG community was actually the aggressor in the recent hostilities that claimed no fewer than 6 lives.
The same youth on the 4th of January 2013 got one of our boys, and he came for Christmas of 2012. Which extended to January, first week of January in 2013. On his way to either buy something at ENANG, the youth at ENANG surrendered him. Drag him to Ukokpan Beach, Beach, and get him slaughtered. That was the first time Ukontege youth defended themselves. They have gone to the farm with machete, with axes, with gun. Even their clan head, His Royal Majesty Atabia, Basi EFFIONG Atabia, stop them that they should not go. That land is, the matter is not yet thrown, it's not free. They violated his instruction and went there and they fought Ukontege. Perhaps they killed Ukontege even more than what Ukontege killed them.
Chairman Mboluku government area of Akwa Ibom State, Asukwa EFFIONG, who condemned the recent bloodbath in his domain, said opinion leaders in the area were considering the option of ceding the disputed parcels of land to the state government to give peace a chance in the warring communities.
One of the major contributions and the recommendation we made was that the government should come and take over the land and make use of the land. And that will bring a lasting solutions to the crisis.
It was reliably gathered that the Akwa Ibom State government, through the office of the Deputy Governor, has waded into the land dispute. While this move is commendable, the government should take cognizance of the court directive to the Oron Council of Chiefs to adopt a traditional conflict resolution or mechanism to facilitate lasting peace between the communities. Perhaps it should be emphasized that violent conflict between both Oron communities should be handled as a matter of urgency to stop further killings and destruction of properties.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Introducing from the heart of Nigeria's Niger Delta region, a residential estate like no other, Victoria Creek Gardens Estate, VCG2 Airport Road, Port Harcourt, River State. A blend of aesthetics, functionality and simplicity built into 600 units of safe and comfortable accommodation. Located in an urban serene environment, VCG2 Estate is just 5 minutes away from the Port Harcourt International Airport. It features an already built police station, a shopping mall, hospital, hotel, cinema, club, gym, playground and many other facilities for your comfort. Purchase a home at our irresistible offer today for you and your family, or just simply invest in our real estate for a fantastic return on investments. For more information, call us on 070-410-01558 or visit our office at Plot 14 Woji Road, GRA Phase 2, Port Harcourt. Victoria Creek Gardens Estate, oasis in the garden.
Heritage Bank. Service, performance, respect, integrity, innovation, tenacity, excellence. Heritage Bank, your timeless wealth partner. Azikel Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. Azikel Group, petroleum product sufficiency, energy sustainability and infrastructure development.
Interim Administrator and Chief Executive Officer of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, EFFIONG AKWA, has reiterated his readiness to work closely with state governments to ensure rapid and even development of Nigeria's oil-producing communities. He gave the indication during a courtesy visit to Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike at Government House, Port Harcourt. Correspondent Lovely Ofigo has details.
The recent visit to Governor Nyesom Wike was part of the process of engaging with stakeholders to prioritize and harmonize development projects in the Niger Delta, as Mr. Akwa explained to his host.
We believe that NDDC can do more in terms of deliverables for the people of River State, people of Niger Delta, through a robust relationship and partnership with your government, and that is why we are here today. We would love Your Excellency to identify projects that NDDC can partner with River State government for the benefit of Rivers people. We don't want to be going left while the government is going right. We don't want to be doing things outside the wish of the government of the region.
At the meeting, the NDDC boss assured Governor Wike that it was no longer business as usual in the NDDC, which had undergone significant reforms under the Buhari administration. He informed the River State Governor that the Commission's permanent headquarters building project, which was stalled for over 2 decades, had been completed under the Buhari administration and was ready for commissioning. Akwa was grateful to the River State government for providing a conducive atmosphere for the completion of the project.
The newly completed permanent head office of NDDC is now ready for commissioning after over 20 years of commencement of work. May we say without mincing words that it is to Your Excellency's credit that NDDC's permanent head office project was smoothly completed due to the enabling environment provided by exceptional leadership. We would like to inform you that the project is billed for commissioning on the 25th day of February 2021.
Governor Wike, who attributed the Commission's uncoordinated approach to project execution before this time, said Akwa's decision to confer with state governments in project initiation and execution was the right thing to do. Governor Wike had pledged support for Mr. Akwa throughout his tenure as interim administrator of the NDDC.
The way you have started, if you continue this way, the governors of the Niger Delta will support you. If you partner with us, we will support you. If you don't partner with us, we will not support you.
Reacting to initial protests against Mr. AKWA's appointment by some interest groups in the region, Governor WIKE said the leadership of the NDDC was not the exclusive preserve of any particular state or ethnic group in the Niger Delta.
NDDC does not belong to any ethnic group in the Niger Delta region. They leave their states and come to River State to block NDDC gates. You know, we are peaceful people, but nobody should push us to the point where we can tell you enough is enough. There are some people who feel that they own NDDC. Nobody owns NDDC. Anybody can be appointed from anywhere in Niger Delta. I'm not interested in you because I'm not in the government. I'm not in your government that appointed you. So I have nothing to say. It must be. But there are people who believe that if they appoint somebody from Edo, oh, that's what they call Niger Delta. If they appoint somebody from across river, that's what they call Niger Delta. We must have to stop that.
The recent visit to Governor WIKE, whose state plays host to the NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt, is the first in a series of proposed meetings with governors of the 9 states comprising the Niger Delta. It is intended to create a synergy with state governments whose contributions to the sustainable development of the Niger Delta region are contemplated in the Act establishing the NDDC.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And with that report, we bring the program to a close. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screen. Until next week, I am Mamode Akugha, thanking you for staying with us. Bye for now.